when to eat what carbs. In the last years, I tried to go lower in the carbs. This had the effect that I think, lost some intensity in my sports workouts. Now, in the last couple of months, I began to rethink the carb thing. Also, in the last period in which I increased my carb intake, what happened at the same time, also correlating with other things, such as colder temperatures, I actually was able to increase my Garmin VO2 max estimate quite a bit. Now, I began to experiment with basically adding flour before workouts, and the data set of this experiment is not that big yet, but I think what this indicates already is the following. I need to eat kind of vegetables anyway. The problem is, in the beginning of the day, my stomach is kind of maximally shrunk. Then I'm also kind of maximally alert, one could say, as the alertness seems to go down basically through the arch of the day. And therefore, if I now would ingest something, then it ideally is something that is quite energy dense. Why? And vegetables contain lots of water. So I begin to think of vegetables as, first of all, the combination of basically, vegetables seem to be the combination of micronutrients, fiber, as well as water. Now, if I do a sport in the morning, such as running, which is largely dependent, it seems, in terms of what is constraining it, on the power to weight ratio, then in the morning I have the ideal power to weight ratio, at least kind of the optimal or the best power to weight ratio in the course of the day. I also have the maximum mental alertness, which then maybe allows myself to drive more bodily intensity. Now, if I would eat vegetables as carb source in the morning, then this would basically add a stressor on top of the exercise I plan to do. So now, if I do wanna eat something as a pre-workout, it therefore would make maybe sense, instead of adding quite complex carbs with lots of water and lots of fiber, to basically take out the fiber, maybe to even take out the water if I'm somewhat sufficiently hydrated still from the night or from the water before, from the water from the day before. Then what is left is kind of just simpler carbohydrates, which could mean flour, which could mean even something closer to sugar, even though I try to usually avoid products with added sugar. So when to eat what carbs is also maybe a question of what to do with these carbs. It seems to be the case that throughout the arch of the day, the more alert I am, the more I benefit from basically constraining the volume of my food and eating more energy dense. Now, there seems to be some evidence that in the morning protein seems to be more useful compared to maybe the middle of the day, giving basically the body protein in the morning in order to then continue the rebuild phase. But if I think about this, and if I think about the idea of now adding 500 grams of vegetables before a run, then this already seems ridiculous. And in part, I think this is due to this idea that constraining the volume and as well as the complexity basically reduces the effect of food as a stressor, at least for a given amount of carbs. If I therefore switch basically more complex carbs to simpler carbs and also maybe leave out additional water, or if I add water, then it's not kind of bound in the fiber, but it is added just by adding normal water. And this then might also result in this idea, this might also result in the optimization that endurance athletes then often have these gels, which are basically just sugar with water. There might be other things in it as well, but sugar with water is just the thing that is the least stressor on the body, nonetheless gives the body back carbs.